what is going on, everyone? Welcome to Citizen Pete Live for some breaking news right here. And welcome if you watched the other day. I've had a lot of people who really enjoyed the Capitol live stream. I mean, it was maybe not the most enjoyable event, but it was nice to have so many people tune in and say they liked the channel. Well, if you haven't heard already, you know it now. Trump has been banned from Twitter and from Facebook and from Instagram. And Trump has also been banned, or Parler, has now been banned from Google, and pretty soon it's going to be banned by Apple. So again, Parler, yeah, you won't be able, if you have a Google device or a device that runs or an Android that runs Google, or if you have an iPhone or something like that, you won't be able to get access to the Parler app. And so this has a lot of folks asking. I've seen a lot of people on my my Twitter feed, my Facebook page, asking about, is this censorship? Is it censorship? And before I get to that, I wanted to pull up something real quick, and I wanted to ask you a question. Have you heard of Pornhub? Now, a lot of you guys out there might be like, "Oh, I've never heard of Pornhub. I have no clue what that actually is," right? Well, here's the thing. Pornhub actually kind of saw this coming. So, if you haven't heard, Pornhub actually got rid of a ton of their content, right? So, Pornhub had faced criticism for years for having a lot of horrible stuff on there. And they had basically ignored criticism of this for a very, very long time until the government got involved. So, basically what was happening with Pornhub was that there was women who were literally sexually assaulted, and the videos were being put on Pornhub, and they couldn't get the videos taken down. They reached out to Pornhub, they wouldn't take them down. They tried filing, they only got them down when they would get a lawyer involved to file a lawsuit. But once the government got involved and the government started looking at what was actually on Pornhub and looking at some of these some of these women's stories, Pornhub, which is one of the biggest websites on the internet, it's actually responsible for, I've heard some people say, like, maybe up to like 5 or 8% of the actual total traffic on the internet is Pornhub, and they removed all of their like non-verified content on there, because once the government gets involved, that gets real scary for private business. And so that goes back to my original question: is this censorship? And honestly, I don't think you can't call this censorship. It's companies that are covering their own asses, right? For all the folks, for people who might have tuned in on Wednesday, and I'm sure by now you've seen the folks who've been sheltering place in the Capitol. It's nothing like a little sheltering place, a little huddling, trying to avoid the mob that's trying to break the doors down, to really bring Congress together. And now they're going to take aim at businesses. So I know a lot of you guys probably are, on social media companies, or probably on, Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, of course. Maybe that's where you're watching this right now, even on YouTube. And how these social media companies work is they want you to spend as much time on the app as possible, right? They want you to be engaged for as long time so they can show you as many ads as possible. And the one way to do that is to show you something that's going to elicit an emotional response, right? And people don't get emotional about anything as much as they do politics, right? I mean, I've had people say crazy shit to me on this channel just because I disagreed with them politically. And so these social media companies, they're making a lot of money, and they're getting a lot of engagement by having, by not promoting people who are in the middle. They're promoting people who are on the left or who are on the right, and they're promoting the loudest voices because that's what's keeping people engaged with their apps. And that's going to make them a lot of money. The only problem is that that's caused a lot of problems in the real world, right? I mean, you just look at what happened on Wednesday. I mean, you look at all these crazy pictures of people storming the Capitol because they believe Trump's election fraud claims, that he's unsubstantiated election fraud claims that he's made on Twitter. And you can see how this has a real impact on people. Like, people are really, they just believe what Trump says, and of course they're going to go out there and storm. They're going to go out there and they're going to try to fight this election fraud, even though it didn't happen. And so with Trump folks who were going there to stop the steal, what they really did is show just how damaging this misinformation is. And this misinformation, it didn't just show up on Wednesday, but it's been here for a long time. And Trump has been at the source of this. There's a lot of articles that have listed Trump as the single largest source of COVID-19 misinformation. I have no clue why they have a picture of Biden there. That's a little strange. But anyway, yes, Trump is the biggest source of COVID misinformation. I think I saw something that said 38% of COVID misinformation can be directly linked to something that Trump has said or done. And so at a certain point, social media companies are going to take action. And it doesn't even stop there. Even Fox News. Fox News originally talked about the COVID-19 being a hoax and all this other kind of stuff. And they eventually reversed course when Fox News got sued for calling it that. Right? These companies, they're not stupid, right? They're out there and they're trying to make money. The goal of any business is trying to make money. But when you are in the process of doing something that could threaten your basic business model, then the way to keep making money is to make sure that threat isn't there. And so for Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Trump has become a threat to their bottom line. And that's why they're taking this action right now. And also, one thing I think that's very, very important to note about what happened on Wednesday is that I had a lot of folks asking me about this. I mean, they were just shocked by this, and a lot of people, reaching out to me because, hey, I do a little bit of politics stuff. And it's like, they were shocked. They were just completely shocked by this. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that don't care about politics, that don't pay attention to politics. And this is something that's all of a sudden in everyone's face. And as someone who's in politics, to switch gears here for a little bit, I think it's no secret. There's no reason why I was surprised by this, but there was no blue wave in 2020, right? It's no secret why Trump lost, but Democrats still weren't very successful in the House. They actually lost seats, and they just barely got the Senate, right? I mean, people weren't on, they didn't want Trump, but they weren't fully on board with Democrats, right? They weren't fully on board with what they wanted to do. And I think Wednesday is going to change that, I mean, you look at these pictures of people in the Capitol building. I mean, for folks who don't pay attention to politics, this is shocking. I mean, this is insane. I mean, that guy sitting on Nancy Pelosi's desk, you might not like Nancy Pelosi, but she is a leader in our government. She's one of the most powerful people in the world. And someone sitting at her desk and stole some of her mail. I mean, this is shocking to a lot of people. And a lot of people who, again, don't pay a ton of attention to politics. And so, for folks out there who have been supporting the president and were a part of this rally or have been big MAGA fans, you guys done messed up. Yeah, you just lost the presidency. Trump is out on the 20th, whether you like it or not. You just lost Congress after what happened in Georgia. And now you've pissed off a ton of Americans who don't even follow politics. And also you've given the mainstream media, who, believe it or not, is actually very tired of talking about the coronavirus. They've been talking about it for months. So really, you guys played yourselves. I mean, what did you think was going to happen, right? Did you really think that people were going to go to the Capitol and they were going to shut down the certification process and Trump was somehow magically going to serve another 4 years? No. What you've done is you've forced Americans to look at pictures like these. You've forced Americans to show people who don't care about politics. You've forced them to look at stuff like this, and you've forced them to have to take a stand on where we're heading as a democracy. You've forced them to have to, you've forced businesses to have to take a stand and have to decide whether or not they are going to be a part of this, and whether or not they're going to literally put their business at stake so you can say whatever crazy shit you want to on Twitter or Facebook. Like I said, you played yourselves. Well, that's a wrap for me, y'all. I just wanted to check in. And again, thank everyone for watching on Wednesday. That was a crazy, crazy day for sure. And if you hadn't already, do me a favor and like and subscribe to the channel. I'm definitely going to be doing more live events in the future. And yeah, because that was kind of a lot of fun to cover. I mean, even though it was a crazy day, it's a very sad day for our democracy. I didn't plan on doing that, and I kind of surprised myself a little bit by covering it all. But again, thanks so much for following Citizen Pete, and again, comment. Let me know what you think about all this. I mean, this is a very big turning point for our democracy. I mean, this is a crazy thing to think that Twitter would ban one of their most popular users. I mean, it's still kind of crazy. I'm still trying to get over it myself, but yeah, comment. Let me know what you think, and I will be back with more Citizen Pete in the future.